Hello there guys, Izuku here, back in another video, and today I'm going to do a new what if, and it's what if Deku was abandoned. So if you want a small summary of this what if, or just the beginning of it, I put a small summary in the description, so if you want to know, go read it, but if you don't, keep watching the video and hope you enjoy. So our story begins when Deku was 10. It was just a normal day for him by getting bullied or just ignored, and him trying his best to keep his head high and focusing on his dream to become a hero. But today is a bit different. When Deku returned home, he saw someone sitting in a living room, and it's his dad. Deku was happy. He didn't see his dad for the past 10 years. So he rushed to hug him, but he stopped him and tell him, "Finally you're home. Let's go." Deku asked where. His dad did not reply and just stay silent. Then Deku saw a bunch of bags, basically the luggage. So he asked what's up with the bags, but once again he didn't get an answer. So three of them walk outside, and there's an Uber ready waiting for them. So they hop on it and start driving. In the way, Deku is still asking where they are going, but both of his parents are not saying a word. Then they stop, and Deku realizes they are in front of an orphanage. His dad get out and tell him to do the same, and he take with him a bag. So they go to the door, they knock, and an employee show up. Then Izuku's dad introduce himself. Employee tell him, "Yeah, we already know about you." And just by his tone, Deku realizes that this employee is angry at his dad, but why? So Izuku's dad give him the bag and start walking away. Deku yell at him, tell him, "Dad, what's going on?" Hisashi turn and tell him, "I'm not your dad and you're not my kid. Have a nice life." Deku was shocked and tell him, "What's going on? Dad, stop." He start to run toward him, but Hisashi uses his quirk to fire like a wall of flame in front of Deku and tell him, "I don't want a useless waste of space in my life." Then he got in the Uber and drove off. Deku was just standing there, speechless. Then the employee took him inside and tell him, "Better get used to this, kid, because from now on this is your home." So let's fast forward a few days, and the news about Deku just getting abandoned spread like wildfire, and people's reactions are between "I don't care" to "he deserves it because he's quirkless." And things are not even better in the orphanage, because he's quirkless, people treat him, let's say, different. And Deku quickly realized the reason why employee is angry at his dad, because he give him, well, him to them, because 90% of the time quirkless kid will not get adopted. So he stuck with them until reach 18 at most. So after a couple of months, this shock turned to sadness, because he just lost the only pillar that support him all these years. And after a while, this sadness turned to anger. Why did he do wrong to earn this treatment? Why did they left him behind? All these thoughts cloud Deku's judgment, and he start acting aggressive. And that start causing him some problems, and that make people cast him aside even more. And this went on for a whole year. After that, Deku started calming down a bit. He started realizing that what he did, it'll only make things worse for him, but he also realized that some of them deserve it, so he's not that guilty. Then it hit him. He's have no one to protect him or to support him, so it's only him against the world. So he starts searching for a way to get stronger without a quirk. The first thing that pop up in his head is martial arts, but that have its limits. So he kept searching and searching. Then one day he discovers something, that 90% or all of the martial arts use this word, ki. He started doing some digging and realized what is ki. Then he started doing what he always do in the anime, thinking or mumbling if the athletes can use it to power up or increase their strength. So he started digging even more and more until he found an old article explaining what is ki, and a theory that people can use ki to increase their strength to beyond normal human strength. Not only strength, but also speed and agility and durability and maybe healing, but there is debate about that one. And to just skip the boring details, Deku decided to give it a try because he have nothing to lose. So he started working on his body and try his best to manipulate his ki, and that forced him to train his body, sometimes to the breaking point. And because he have no friends, no family, no one cares enough to stop him. And because he doesn't have the money, he doesn't have proper training of martial arts, so the next best thing he can do is copying them. He has always been good at analyzing people, mainly heroes, because they fight for a living. So after a year of constant harsh training, Deku sat down and started focusing on letting his ki out. He always meditating and trying to bring out his ki, but this time it happened. He opened his eyes and saw a small ball of light between his hands. Then he felt something that he haven't felt it for 2 years. happiness. His hard work was not for nothing, so he quickly wiped his tears and started trying even harder because right now he was able to let it out, but he need to increase it and manipulate it. So once again we skip a year because nothing important happened, and before you ask, yes, everybody else realized that Deku started getting buffer, but like I said, they don't care. So when Deku reached 13, he decided to get a part-time job because why not? Plus he was specific about what job he wanted. He wanted a job that will work his body, not just sitting all day long. So luckily he was able to find a job in a small factory. They were hesitant at first because he's still a kid, but after asking him about his family name, Deku got pissed, but he was able to hide it somewhat and tell them that he doesn't have a family. And after seeing his demeanor changing, they decided not to push it any further and accept him. At first they start giving him small jobs, but after realizing that Deku is stronger than most of the adults here, they start letting him do some heavy work. And after saving up few paychecks, Deku doesn't want to spend all his money at once. He was able to buy some proper equipment to help him train, and that caught the attention of the employees in the orphanage. They realized this is their chance to get rid of him, so they start suggesting to him to get a place for himself, and it will be better than living here. Deku immediately can see through their smiles and their thoughtful suggestions and tell them that he already thought of that. The second he have enough money he will leave. So they have to drop this attitude because he doesn't like it at all. He knew who they really are. So just drop this friendly attitude. It doesn't suit you at all. So after a few months, Deku was able to get a place for himself, and sure it was hard at first because he need to cook his own food and pay the bills, but luckily his job pay enough to cover the bills and everything. Plus he has some savings, so he will not worry too much. And before you guys tell me that Deku is only 13 years old, well, I did some research because one of you, and I'm not going to tell the name, and I will not show his name in the screen right now. No, I will never do that. He basically tell me that the age of consent in Japan is 13. I was like, nah man, he must be kidding, right? So I go to Google and yeah, he's not wrong. So thanks you, the person that I will not say his name, and I will not show his name in screen. Never. I will never show your name. So thanks to you, this what if is possible. So with that, let's return to the story. Deku started getting used to using his power, so he started building more stamina than usual because he need to power up and focus it in his body. So that will definitely drain him. So he keep up with his training for a few months, and when it's summer he switched to full-time job because he needed extra money. Then his boss gave him the opportunity to gain even more money. They are going to send some workers to do a job in the other city and tell him is he interesting. Deku obviously took it. The only downside is he's going to live with other people for 3 months, but luckily he knows them somewhat, so he think he will be able to tolerate it for a few months. So everything was going smoothly for a few weeks, but one day they started hearing commotions nearby, and sadly it was close to where they live, so they will surely know what's going on. And they soon realized that in the middle of the fight between heroes and some gentrification villain, actually 2 of them, and sadly they are caught in a crossfire. They tried to run, but some villains blocked them and tried to take them hostage. Some heroes tell them don't worry, he will save them, but Deku talked to the villains and tell them, do you really want to do this? The villain tell him what? Deku smirk and tell him you have 2 options, face him or facing me. In both options you will get hurt, but if you pick me I will gladly do a bit more because I have some anger issues and I want to let out some steam. I wasn't able to train properly for the past few weeks, so what do you choose? The villains start laughing and tell him you're just a kid, so shut your mouth before I hurt you. Deku smirk, close his eyes and tell him, remember I give you an out. When he opened them, they saw a small spark in his eyes, and before they can do anything, Deku rocket toward them, punching the villain, slamming him against the ground, knocking him out. Then he looked at the other villains that still shocked and proceeded to wipe the floor with them. They tried to put up a fight, keyword tried. One of them did have a quirk that let him shoot lasers from his hand, so he sneaked behind Deku and aimed at him, but when he fired, Deku can sense something coming toward him, so his first instinct is to duck. So he did, and laser hit the other villain. Deku was shocked and tell him, so did I sense that or what? What was that? But he shook his head, turned to the villain and beat him. After Deku was done, I would say fighting, but I would say training, but ooh, I got it. So after Deku was done with his warm-up, he looked at the pro that he's still shocked and tell him he need to handcuff them because I don't think they will stay out cold for long. The hero snapped out of it and handcuffed them. But unbeknownst to Deku, someone was watching him. or two, but the other one was busy fighting the villain. Sorry, villains, the justification ones. Deku looked up to see a blue-haired girl looking at him, and she's somewhat flying. He can clearly see her flying using some type of energy or something because he can sense something coming out from her legs and hands. Also, he can see it, so that's that giveaway. Then he screamed at her to watch out. One of the villains saw her distracted and tried to hit her, but luckily she was quick enough to avoid him and use her nejire wave to beat him. And I think you guys already know who's the other hero, it's Ryuko. So she was done beating her villain, and with that the whole gang was arrested. Everyone started readying themselves to leave, but the second Deku turned, he see nejire is facing him. He jumped back and she apologized if she scared him. Deku just sighed and told her it's whatever. Then she come close to him and tell him that he have a powerful quirk to take out so many villains at once. Deku replies, sorry if I will burst your bubble, but I don't have a quirk. Then Nejire tell him, you don't have a quirk, so how can you explain taking out like 7 villains at once? Deku tell her, well, that result of hard work. So if you excuse me, I have to leave, I have work to do. Nejire nod and let him pass. Then he asks her, while we are asking each other questions, how could you fly? You don't have a flying quirk, am I right? Nejire, being the carefree person that she is, start to explain how she used her quirk to fly and fire that massive attack. And Deku realizes that her quirk is similar to Ki in more ways than one, and maybe he can copy her, but he will not trust her or anyone else in that matter, so he will not ask her. So he thanked her and went on his way. Then when he left, Ryuko approached Nejire and tell her, are you interested in that kid? Nejire tell her yeah, then she blushed and realized what she just told her. Ryuko just smiled, then Nejire tell her, but not in that way, I'm just curious, how does he have that much power without a quirk? Ryuko tell her, I don't know, but I can do some digging if you want. She tell her that with a grin on her face. But what is his name? Nejire blush and tell her to not do that. And she actually never asked him for his name, so after that two of them return to the agency, and I'm going to stop it right here. So what do you think of it, guys? Will Deku be able to learn Nejire's moves? What will happen next? So if you enjoyed this what if, drop a like, it does help me a lot and it shows me that you guys love this concept. And if you're new, subscribe, there is more videos like this coming, and like always guys, peace.